my name is Pavlina, and I'm account manager in MagiCAD Group. And today I will talk about BIM implementation within cost teams and how you could potentially make this transition easier using our software solutions. And I will share with you some of the best practices in the industry. So here is the agenda on the right hand side. I will start with short company introduction. Then I will share with you the poll results. And afterwards, I will go through the three main estimating approaches that we are familiar with. This is based on our interactions with existing and potential customers. If you stay with me till the end, I will share with you a special offer that we have for all attendees, and I hope we'll also have time for Q&A session. If you have any questions, you can submit them during the webinar, and I will do my best to respond at the end. If not, we will come back to you in the next few days. So let's get started. So we are MagiCAD, well known in UK and Europe with our MEP design solution for Revit and AutoCAD. We are on the market for 35 years now, and we are proud to say that most of the MEP companies are familiar with our solution, and most of them are using it. The company joined Glodon Group in 2014, which is the fifth largest AEC software provider in the world. It's a market leader in Malaysia, Singapore, and China. And since then, the company, MagiCAD Group, expanded its portfolio with software solutions for quantity takeoffs and estimating. Glodon Group is specializing in BIM-based software solutions. So today I will talk about one of them, which is called Cubicost TAS, and is for BIM quantity takeoffs. So moving forward to the poll results, remember during the registration phase, there was one question: what is your main challenge for implementing BIM for costing? And if we have a look on the results, it's evident that most of you think that the BIM data is not trustworthy. So during the next few slides and with the examples, I hope you'll get an idea on how you could improve the BIM data so that you can use it for estimating. The other thing that you mentioned as a big problem is the lack of knowledge. So we as a company, we make sure that even when we provide trials to our customers, we also provide bespoke training session so that we can make sure that our customers are making the most of their trials or their subscription. And not willing to change the existing process is also very common. And we understand that having an established process in your company is something that is difficult to change. However, some of the processes are time consuming, and if you change to a different approach or different technology, you might save up to 70% of your time for this particular process. So as I mentioned, I will give you 3 examples on 3 different approaches. And for that, I will use one of the biggest projects in the UK. So during phase 3 of this project, a number of contractors approached us as they wanted to improve their estimating process, and they wanted to estimate the project as quick as possible. So this picture here actually is a good example on how we can merge multiple BIM models into the costing solution, so that can help customers to have better control on the project, and also to easily deal with the BIM with the various changes within the project, and of course improving the information. And you can also see how these models are interfacing with each other. So so as I said, a number of contractors approached us during phase 3 of this project, and what was really fascinating to me was that each of them had completely different approach to the tendering process. So, for instance, contractor A, I'll call them contractor A, B, and C. As an example. So having different approaches, they actually spent completely different time on the estimating. For instance, contractor A used a traditional quantity takeoff, manual and particularly and partially on-screen quantity takeoff. So they spent 18 Mondays on quantifying the project. Contractor B used 2D to 3D approach. I will talk about this a bit later. And they spent 11 Mondays to quantify the project. So they were 7 days ahead, contractor A. And contractor C, who used the BIM approach to quantify the project, they spent 6 days to quantify it. And compared to contractor A, B, and C, they saved 70% compared to them on these certain tasks. So in the next few slides, I'll walk you through these 3 approaches, and I'll try to explain why this was the outcome and why contractor C was way quicker compared to contractor A and B. So if you have a closer look to contractor A, who used a mixed method of manual quantity takeoffs and traditional on-screen takeoff. So we know that this is the most common approach to quantity takeoffs, and on the market there are a lot of software solutions who are using the same methods as the manual one. So they're following the same workflow. So this is one of the reasons why for most companies, moving from paper to on-screen software solutions is not a big challenge, because the workflow is the same. It's just digital. It's just digital. But the second reason why this is the most common approach is because most of the contract documents are referring to the 2D drawings. However, as this is the most common, this is also the most time-consuming approach. So if we have a look on the contractor B, which was our customer that during this phase 3, so they approached us as they wanted to improve their process, and they used 2D to 3D approach. In this video, I will demonstrate briefly how that works and what we mean. So we imported the PDF files into the software, and as you can see, the PDFs were auto-colorized so that you can use these colors to identify the objects. So you tell the software that this color represents a column, and the software is capable to auto-identify all the columns in this PDF. So we follow the same process for the walls and the doors. What is very important to mention here is that, as you can see, we are not just drawing a line on the top of the PDF. We actually create the physical 3D objects, and thus we are capable to generate extra level of information as volume of concrete, rebar, and formwork. We also use measurement rules for deduction and for generating reports for producing bill of quantities afterwards. So as you can see, compared to contractor A, contractor B was way quicker because they saved a lot of time quantifying the items and generating the quantities from the PDFs. If we have a look on the digital transformation within the construction companies in the UK, it's evident that the industry is willing to change. So a recent survey shows that 83% of the construction companies have either completed a digital transformation project or have one underway, and 44 of them claim to have already completed their digital transformation. We have to bear in mind that for each company, digital transformation can mean completely different thing. So for instance, for some that can be using a 3D viewer for a certain project, and for some that can be completely digitalization for each project and for the whole company. However, as I said, these numbers are a very good indicator that even that the construction industry has been slow of implementing technologies, the industry is willing to change. So before we move to the contractor C, who used the BIM approach, I would like briefly to share with you some of the features of Cubicost has. So as I mentioned, our software is the only software which is capable to interrogate the BIM model before costing. And what we mean by that is that once you import IFC or Revit file into the software, you can run an error analysis and see where are the errors, because we know that when it comes to estimating data and quantities, there is no such a thing as a perfect BIM model, and there is always missing data, or just the data is not detailed enough. We also have overlaps very often. So being capable to edit, to identify firstly the errors, then being capable to auto process them, edit the model, generate quantities, and also add date to the model is very powerful for this process. And we believe, and we also know, that this helps to trust the model a lot and helps estimators to accelerate the process. So moving forward to the contractor C, who used the BIM approach. So contractor C had, alongside the PDF files, they also had the BIM model. So they were a way quicker compared to contractor A and B. So in this video, you see how we imported the structural BIM model into the software. And as it's a BIM model, most of the data was already contained. So they were able to generate the quantities basically with one click. However, as I mentioned, the model contained a lot of errors. So they run error analysis, and they could see what kind of errors they have, and they could decide if they want to process them or just leave them if they're not important enough. So here we generate the quantities, as I said, with one click, and we use slab openings as an example here. So these are the original quantities. And if you try to remember the figures, for area we have 237 square meters, and for the girth we have 819. And as we're giving example with slab openings, we can click on one of the openings and see what kind of error we have. So here we can see that we have opening within the openings. So we can manually adjust this error, this overlapping, or we can run the auto process as we are doing in the video. Once we are done with the processing, we are generating the quantities again. And as you can see, the figures are different. So the figures were automatically adjusted once we did the auto processing job. So you see how easy it can be to adjust the model and to adjust the overlaps within your BIM model. There is one more feature that I would like to share with you, which is also helping to trace the BIM data. And this feature is overlaying the BIM model with the PDF file, as you can see in this video. So thus, you can make sure that the quantities you have and the building elements are the same and they're on the correct place, and there are no differences between the BIM model and the PDF files. This really helps our customers to improve and to increase the trust, so they can make sure the quantities they have are the same as a PDF file it is, and there are no differences. If there are differences, you're able to compare them and adjust if it's need to. So as you can see, by just having the BIM model, Contractor C was much more quicker, and they were the most efficient compared to Contractor A and B. So they spent the less time on quantifying the project, and as I said, they were the most efficient. So if we have a look on the BIM implementation in the UK, we can see some very good numbers here. So a recent research shows that 96% of the construction companies plans to use BIM within 5 years, and 63% will need to use BIM on all projects within the next few years. Unfortunately, 15% only did that last year, and the numbers hasn't risen a lot. And we believe one of the reasons is the challenges that I mentioned today. So I believe having that kind of software can help you to trace the data and can help you um, through this digitalization journey. So we're going towards the end of this webinar. Before I finish, I would like you to think, based on the three examples that I gave today, which contractor is your company and what kind of process you have. Are you contractor A, using mixture of manual and on-screen quantity takeoffs? Are you contractor B, who is having a software solution for 2D to 3D quantity takeoffs? Or your contractor C, who is actively using BIM models within the cost teams and actively using the BIM data? So if you're willing to move from A to B or B to C, just get in touch with us. I will share our emails in the next slide. And we're happy to have a discussion with you and to see which is the best approach for you and how you could potentially improve the process of estimating and implementing BIM for cost. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found the webinar informative and beneficial. If you have any questions, just drop us an email, get in touch. We are happy to work with you and to collaborate. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye.